Click this side.
Should be.
Sarah, are we all set?
You're good to go.
Thank you. Okay, today is April 1st, 2025. This is a meeting of the Appointments Committee being held in the Selectmen's Conference Room. I'd like to notice that this meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Seeing none, this meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live video on-demand archives on the Town of Barnstable's website. Roll call, please.
Councilors, Burdick.
Present.
Bloom.
Here.
Mendez. Crow.
Yes.
Chair of Committee, Kristen Turkelson.
Here.
You are quorum.
Thank you. Is there anyone here for public comment?
Briefly.
I have worked up an updated list on the topics that I've been involved in. I'm just going to hand it out to you. I don't expect to discuss it. You've got higher priorities. I'll give you one, Cindy.
Okay.
I'll let you circle those around.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it up to you to get back to me. You can do that. Okay.
Yep.
And this is some of it's a follow-up from what we've been doing elsewhere.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you announced your name?
Larry Moore, Katuitt, on the road most of the time.
Larry, I don't have one.
We just.
Oh, okay,
Oh, you sent one to Cindy?
that's fine. No, I've got it. I brought extras.
Thank you.
Thanks. Been an excellent committee here, Andy.
And the first person to be interviewed is Andrew Fisher. Would you like to come on over?
I'm just trying to keep up with them. Sorry.
Take a seat wherever you'd like.
All right.
We can put one of these in Jeff's box.
Sure. Hello.
Thanks.
Want to introduce yourself to the committee?
Hi, my name is Andrew Fisher. I am 27 years old and I've lived in West Barnstable for my entire life here.
And you are, you have expressed interest in the Historical Commission and the Community Preservation Committee?
Yes.
Okay. Councilor Burdick, would you
Me
like to
first?
start?
Yes, of course, why not? So you've lived in Barnstable your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your CV.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you want to get involved with the sometimes painful process of municipal regulation?
Well, part of it is a matter of wanting to get more involved in town affairs. I know that the Cape has struggled for a long time with youth retention, and I feel like if I were to get involved, I could be a service in keeping people to stay on the Cape and also wanting people to come live here.
Absolutely. And then your work, your professional experience. Currently, you're processing associate.
Yes, for Rogers and Gray.
It's a very technical job.
Mm-hmm.
And you must like the numbers.
It's
Yeah.
more about bureaucracy than number. There's,
I know what you mean.
taking the mail out, putting it in, making sure
Yeah.
it's being handed to the right people. It's less accountant and more paper pushing.
Right. Well, there you go.
So you can see why I would why I'd be interested in working for the town.
Absolutely. Process is everything. And so you live in West Barnstable,
Yes.
been here your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You're a young person. We don't get a ton of young people. That's not ageism, that's just me saying.
Nah, I get it. Hard to feel in place with so many well-aged people in the world.
Tell me about it. It's the story of my life, my civic life. Well, thank you. That's all the questions I have. I appreciate you coming down.
Great. Anything else?
Councilor Bloom?
Sure. What about the historic Historical Commission?
Well,
That really fascinates you about that?
Well, I do fancy myself a history buff. I wouldn't count myself among, the PhD people, but I do love learning about history, and I know that it's an important thing in this day and age, and I would like to make sure that people can gain an interest in local affairs. After all, gaining an interest in local affairs makes people feel more engaged to participate in the town.
That's so true. How about the community preservation aspect? Probably something along the same lines?
Yeah, it's about, wanting to make sure that people's needs are being met and that everything's up to code.
Yeah. How do you feel about the preservation of open space?
I like that.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? You've handled confidential material.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Anything else?
Councilor Crowe?
Yeah, Andy, or Andrew.
Andrew.
Andrew. Which, you've put in your name for 2 committees.
Yeah.
Which are you more interested in, most interested in?
Community preservation.
Community preservation? Okay. And.
I just checked those off just because, as in case one didn't go through, there was
Sure,
always
sure.
the other opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. Rogers and Gray's insurance company?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and have you ever served on any other public committee?
No, sir,
Yeah.
I have not.
How old are you, Andy?
27 years old.
Okay, so it's always a good place to start.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what do you see as your career, how it would progress throughout your life?
My career?
Yeah, you're in a processing position in business with Rogers and Gray. Do you see you staying there for quite a long time, or in that industry?
I would like so.
Yeah.
I want to, but part of the reason was I want to join the committee is because, it's hard to live on the Cape.
Yes.
So I felt that getting more involved in the process would make me feel like I would be helping towards making the Cape, a better place to live.
Okay, Andrew, that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, sir.
I have a couple questions. So what's interesting about the appointments that are available, the Historical Commission, it looks like it meets once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And the Community Preservation Committee is actually looking for members who are fed through other committees to their committee. So you can see how here it says the Historical Commission representative member
Mm-hmm.
or Recreation Commission representative member. It means they're looking for somebody who's already on this board to also come and serve on this board. So my question for you is, if you were to join the Historical Commission, would you be interested in also being the person who represents the Historical Commission on the Community Preservation Commission?
I would like
Because that
that.
would mean you would attend 2 meetings a month.
I would like
Is
that.
that too much of an ask for you, time-wise, commitment-wise?
No,
Okay, and these committees in particular would require things like reviewing plans as far as, like, the Armory building across the road is gonna be coming forward through the Community Preservation Committee for some restoration work. So sometimes they might go to a site and actually look at the site and learn about the history of it and what kind of preservation it needs. Sometimes they meet as a group at the actual site. Is that something that would interest you?
yes,
And have you watched any or attended any of these meetings for either of these groups to kind of know what their workings look like?
No, it would be my first time attending either of these
Okay.
meetings.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming to see us today, and thank you for your time.
Great, thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
Would you like-
One further question,
Oh,
sorry,
sure, yeah.
sorry, I
Sorry.
know, I should have asked it during my time, but
Yes?
it just occurred to me. If either of these spots weren't to work out, are there other committees that you would be interested in being on? Or would you be willing to be put on one that wasn't necessarily the ones you picked?
Well,
Just if-
since you asked, there is always the Disabilities Commission. And in addition to working with Rogers and Graham, also a close associate with capabilities. I've worked with the people there. They're part of the reason I was able to get to work for Baldwin Risk Partners in the first place. So I do have a concern for people who grow up with learning disabilities, behavioral disabilities. I may not have a lot of direct experience learning with these people, but it is a concern of mine that should be well addressed.
There you go, thank you, that was my final question.
Great.
Thank you.
And would you like me to stick around?
If you wanna stick and grab a seat, listen to the other interviews you can, you're more than welcome to stay as long as you want.
But we won't be making a decision.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Andrew.
Thank you all.
This is your seat, you stay there.
No, it's fine. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Patrick, come on back.
How you doing?
So this is Patrick Downey, and he actually was previously interviewed by three of us. John is new to the committee, from the Human Services Committee. So I think, were you not there that day?
I don't think
Was-
it's,
No, was
Oh.
it for one of their ad hoc
I was there.
committees, or was it a
No.
regular one? Okay, sorry, I must have
Yeah,
missed
okay,
it.
so Charlie and I are familiar with Mr. Downey, and we're excited to have a position open up and invite you back. So maybe Counselor Burdick and Counselor Crowe, if you have some questions, I'm familiar and think he's a great candidate, so.
Well, there you go, how about just maybe, well, John first or me first?
I think you should definitely tell you his story, because
That's
he's
what I
a
was
very
gonna say.
interesting story.
How about your 5-minute biography?
so my name is Patrick Downey. I'm not from the Cape. I've been out here for like 6-7 years now. I am an addict in recovery. I have been homeless before. I run a nonprofit that helps both the homeless and with addiction. I work in the mental health field. I go to school for psychology, a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. Planning on either applying to med school or getting my MSW, so I can be an LIPSW further down the road. My passion is just helping people, and I started this nonprofit. I was driving to work one day, warm car, and see a man with no shirt on, or no sweatshirt, jacket, nothing, right? No gloves, nothing. So I was like, this needs to change. So I drove to the store, searched for him for 2 hours, and from then I started making backpacks, and that's how my nonprofit started. Now in a year, it's been a year since February, year and a month to now, we have gotten a grant from Barnstable, the opioid committee, and then we also just signed a contract with both hospitals to do work in there and get people that are coming in for alcohol, drug abuse, whatever it is, into programs. And my job has always been to build connections, so I have connections with almost every director of every detox, CSS program on the Cape, off the Cape, and I just want to give people help because no one helped me, so I want to help others. So if they have a chance to, do what I've done in my 4+ years clean, and some people judge, I don't care. I am what I am, I am like what I am, and I love the mental health field, I love psychology, I love help people, and I want to give back, really.
Absolutely. Well, there you go, thank you for that. And now, is it just you do you have employees and stuff?
I have a board.
Yeah, a board, and it's become well established over the last year.
We worked very hard. I'm very selective of who I trust to bring onto the board, because they have to show a level of passion and dedication that is not money. Like, I haven't made $1, I haven't made a cent that whole year, right, of the nonprofit. Every dollar that's been donated, everything, it always goes back into helping people, so they have to be on that level. They're not in it for the money, they're in it because they care. You know? And I work in the field, I see both, you know, some people actually genuinely care, a lot don't.
Yep.
You know, it's unfortunate, but I picked a board that genuinely cares.
There you go. I think that pretty much covers it for me. Where did you grow up?
Lunenburg.
What is that?
Lunenburg and Fitchburg. It's
Oh, Western Mass.
Worcester. It's north central Mass, like north of Worcester.
There you go. All right, that is all I got. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Patrick, I want to congratulate you for not only your recovery, but
Thank you.
what you seem to have done on your own here is pretty impressive, so. Can you tell me more about your nonprofit?
Yep.
What's
so
it called and
Hopeful Outreach of Cape Cod.
full outreach?
So you can give you guys some cards. So you want to look it up. We have a website and Facebook. The website's not that up to date, but it's pretty well. You know, and so what we do is direct outreach. We're out in the communities. Like Christmas time, I'm walking around looking for people to give stuff to, right? Cold, I don't care. Somebody calls me at midnight, they need a tent. I'm gonna go find that person, give them a tent, right? Like, I'm not letting anybody sleep outside if they need help, right? Not everybody wants help, and it's always based on them. You know, like, I'm not gonna tell somebody they need this service. Like, you don't need to go, like, you have to go detox. No. Do they wanna go detox? Are they ready? Are they ready to get mental health care? And if they're not, they have my number. They can call me and I can help them then, right? Because not everybody's ready at that moment when I meet them, but eventually they will be, you know? Because they're gonna hit their rock bottom sometime. They're gonna have nobody, but they got me, right? So they can always just reach out and I'll help them. And we've been doing a lot of sober house scholarships, you know, just doing recovery coaching, just trying to help people stay sober and teach them how to be sober. Like, it's going from a life of addiction is a whole nother world to being a citizen. That's what I call being sober as a citizen, like paying taxes, you know, getting a driver's license, getting IDs, just anything that they don't have, we help them get. And just give them a fighting chance, you know, build a foundation. Because if I give out a scholarship to somebody, right, that has no money, that's their starting point. And from there, they can grow and become a productive member of society again.
Can you tell me about these scholarships? What kind of a scholarship is it?
So it's like a sober house scholarship, so we'll pay the rent, say a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is.
At a sober house?
At a sober house.
Okay.
And I vet every sober house personally. Like, I know the owners, I'll sit down with the owners, I'll walk to the place, you know, mass certified, not mass certified, that's the different thing, but like, I won't send somebody, because I know the inner workings of the community, and some houses aren't that good, right? So I'm not gonna send somebody over to a place where somebody's getting high there, right? Because then they have a chance to relapse. So I work directly with the people that own these sober houses, you know, name basis, calling them, do you have a bed? Yeah, all right, boom, there. I'm gonna pay for a week for this person, right? And then they can call me, hey Patrick, I need help looking for a job. Do you have any resources? Yes, of course. Yeah, so you know, so it's all, I'm not just throwing people out there and be like, good luck, you know, because not everybody can do what I can do. You know, I'm an outlier and I got lucky, you know, so I want to be the person to help them.
Obviously, there's a number of different social services agencies that do the same thing. What is your relationship with those, or and what are your relationships with the other social services? And you're on your own, obviously. So,
Thanks.
why did you decide to be on your own versus working with one of the others?
Bluntly, somebody told me I couldn't start a nonprofit.
Okay.
That I couldn't succeed in doing this.
Okay.
And I said, okay, watch. But we directly work with them, you know, because I'm not, to do that, I like have to get a job there, right? So we always, you know, with direct outreach, we'll send somebody to places that they need help with. Say if they need, you know, methadone treatment, right? They can go to Duffy. We'll send a referral to Duffy. Mental health, Bay Cove, you know, relief nursing, all the agencies, we work with them. to call them up and.
You refer to people to them, okay. Well, thank you, Patrick, I appreciate it.
I just have a question, because I know that you've been, since we met, last time, you've been attending the meetings as much as you can. And, you know, one of the questions that's been charged of us in another committee is the effectiveness of our committees. And one of the questions we kind of discussed yesterday was the effectiveness of this Human Services Committee. We don't have a Human Services Department in our town. So I'm wondering if there's one thing that you think the Human Services Committee could change that could make this committee more effective in serving the town of Barnstable as a whole? Something that you've seen or witnessed or have thought about in your time there?
My honest opinion, I
Please
think
do.
that the Human Service Committee should be the umbrella for all agencies under it. And have, not control, I don't like that word, but have a understanding of what's going on. Because you can't just have the Human Service Committee on the side and then all the stuff that falls under a Human Service umbrella in other towns, you be doing their own thing. And I'm not saying it has to be in charge, but just have an understanding of what's going on. And I feel like it's really kind of pushed aside. You know, I don't feel like they have enough of a voice, right? And human services is important, right? You know, we drive down Main Street, you're gonna see a bunch of homeless people, right? That needs to end. We gotta find a solution. I don't have a solution to that, but eventually we can find one. If we all work together, all the departments, if there's ways to fix things that are not being addressed, and that's why I wanted to be part of the committee, because if I see something I don't like, I want to address it and try to fix it. Not just me, a team, whatever. But that's just my opinion on it, and what I've noticed, it just feels like they don't have much say or power over every other thing that a human service umbrella would be normally under. That's just how I see it.
Well, we believe they can use some help.
Yeah, so we appreciate your honest feedback. Okay, thank you for your time tonight.
No problem.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Patrick.
coming back for a
Appreciate
second time.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah,
You too, thank you.
thanks.
Oh, is there any other boards that are open? I'm always open to join.
Okay. It's gonna be Seth's question.
Yeah.
Joe, come on over.
Hello, folks.
Hi,
This is,
we've done
I
this
don't know
before.
your last name.
Taconia,
This, I knew I was
Taconia?
spelling it.
Taconia.
This is Joseph Taconia, and he has put in an application for the Housing Committee and the Infrastructure and Energy Committee. He's been in front of the three of us previously. He's back for the second round. So, Mr. Burdick, Councilor Burdick?
That's me. So what I remember about you thus far.
It's a pop quiz. Quiz the counselor.
Yeah, go through it. It was about a year ago, was it? More?
Just about a year ago.
Just about a year ago? We've interviewed so many people. I remember you had, I could look at your CV, I could cheat, it's not on here though. But you were technically involved in was it the publishing of what was the business that you were in? It was technical manuals?
No, it was corporate legal compliance.
Legal compliance, that's right. Explain it to me one more time.
Corporations that are doing business in more than one place, like multiple states or nationally, have to meet requirements in each state where they're doing business.
Right.
They're required to have what's called a registered agent in every jurisdiction. There are annual compliance reports, filings that need to be done, business licenses. So the company that I work for basically kind of facilitated all of that. Mostly working with law firms and attorneys.
Right.
But then kind of branching out into working directly with corporations themselves. But we did a lot of the legwork, we did a lot of the filings. High point of my career was I'm the guy that incorporated NutraSweet.
Does not cause cancer, NutraSweet, or does it now?
That's right.
It depends on who you ask.
Well, there goes my legacy.
Yeah, don't go there.
And then later, I moved from more field work into the more technical side. We started developing software tools.
Right. It's coming back to me. I for some reason remember you describing big books of something. Maybe that wasn't you though, or was it?
Could have been me. We were big into, actually, we started out as,
Manuals that
we
had to
started
go
out as a
from-
publisher of, topical,
Maybe that was it.
compliance topics, HR, legal.
Yeah.
And they all came in these huge loose leaf binders, and every week you would be mailed a package of updates for your binders.
That must be the one thing I held on to.
That was it, huh?
No, but and you're very involved. You've been involved. You did serve. You haven't served on any of the town boards.
I have not served on any of the town committees.
But you're the
I am
Democratic
on
chairman
The
for the
Democratic, chair of the Democratic Town Committee, yeah.
And so is it still? I mean, I like to ask this question always. Housing and infrastructure and energy. Those are your two preferred, but you're open to others.
I was actually very open. The first time I applied, it was, where do you check off all of the above?
Right.
I was kind of willing to help out wherever I could.
Yeah, and still now.
Honestly, when I reapplied this year, I applied for, it was infrastructure and energy. I think there were a couple of others, but I didn't actually see a vacancy on housing.
There might not well be.
So when I heard from Cynthia,
there will be one.
Would you be interested in interviewing for housing? I was like, absolutely.
I mean, we got 1 million vacancies coming in, don't we? Not necessarily
A
vacancies.
million?
Well, not quite 1 million.
It's hard already.
Several dozen. Maybe 50.
Last time I was here, I think I heard all of you talking about how you were gonna process all of the people who wanted to be reappointed for terms that were expiring. And
Yes, it's
you
happening
were
again.
wrestling with 96 people that had to be interviewed.
Yes,
And then-
we're back at that point again.
Yeah, and we had the ad hoc committee thing last year, which kind of screwed everything up. Because we did that for a month, didn't we? Or
Yeah,
more?
at
We
least.
had 100 people, or didn't we? Was it 100 people, 50 people?
Hmm.
I guess it's irrelevant. It was quite a few. But so I remember you. You're a well-qualified and pleasant young man. So those are all my questions.
Councilor Crowe?
Joe, what was the name of the company that you ran, or you were part of? You run it or you part
It
of it?
was I was the vice president of operations. It was called Corporation Trust Company, which was owned by something called Commerce Clearinghouse out of Chicago, which then became part of a Netherlands conglomerate called Wolters Kluwer.
Okay. So it was bought out or?
Yeah.
Purchased by, okay. Now, you applied for infrastructure and energy, but you weren't appointed to that at that time, is that correct? Okay, and.
And honestly, I think the people that did get appointed at that time, after watching that workshop that they did a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
it's like, man, you picked the right people.
Good on us.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let me see. How long have you lived in the area, Joe?
Full-time since 2014, so 10 years.
Okay.
Before that,
Where are the other places you've lived and worked?
born and raised in New York City. From there, went to school upstate New York, graduated, lived in Portland, Maine for a couple of years. Got married, went back to New York, got transferred to Chicago for close to 10 years.
Where'd you go to school in upstate New York?
St. Lawrence University.
St. Lawrence, okay, all right.
Did my student teaching on the St. Regis Mohawk Reservation.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That must have been something,
that
yeah,
was eye-opening.
okay. I don't have any other questions.
Just curious, I mean, I see you at a lot of town council meetings, so I know you
Yeah.
attend those. And I have not been watching the housing committee meetings. Have you been attending or following up with the housing committee meetings, maybe like
I've
on
watched-
video or?
Well, I've watched a few of them. I started taking in a real interest in it because I kept hearing at town council meetings, when there was a lot of discussion about, the effectiveness of town committees, it seemed to be, one of the real focuses of, we got a housing committee, we don't know if they meet, we don't know what they're doing. people don't show up for meetings. So I started dropping in on the broadcasts of a couple of those meetings. And then we've got all of the interlacing of, we've got the comprehensive plan committee is trying to put together, among other things, the housing plan. We've got the Cape Cod Commission coming out with a housing plan. The town came out with a housing production plan a couple of meetings ago that's come back to the drawing board. It's kind of a bewildering alignment of what all of these groups are doing, how they're expected to work together. What does effectiveness look like for that committee? But from what I've seen watching the last several meetings, they seem to want to do more than what's getting done.
Is there anything in particular, having watched those last several meetings, that you could say would be something you could bring to this committee to enhance the effectiveness of this committee?
It's almost, from what I can see from the outside, the way the committee functions is really, what gets brought forward, what comes in front of them, and they kind of deal with it. It feels like everything is being dealt with, on the basis of, what's the question in front of us, we'll do some digging around on it, and we'll decide, up or down on this. I guess organizationally, I'd kind of like to see them maybe define their mission more clearly, especially in relation to all the other, kind of housing efforts and initiatives that are going on.
Councilor Bloom? You might not have any questions, I know we've met Joe before,
Yeah.
but just give you the opportunity.
Well, yeah, thank you. Joe, we have a ratio now, with multifamily housing, one out of every, if you have 9 units, one of them's got to be, 10 units, one of them's got to be,
Right.
yeah. And it's been that way for a long time, and it's not working. And we need we need affordable housing. We need
This doesn't
workforce
feel
out.
like a hole that you can 10% your way out of.
Yeah, and so I'm just wondering what your thoughts about that are, because excuse me.
Again, it's what are the constraints on what an individual committee can do, but overall, it feels like we need a greater emphasis on meeting the needs assessment. I think everybody knows we need more affordable and working class housing, and probably not as much market rate housing as we're seeing right now. But is that systemic? Or are there things that we can do to try to move that needle? Are there incentives? Are there, programs? Is it, a matter of town regulation? Is it state regulation that, we're just kind of trying to make the best of? But yeah, it feels like we need to adjust that mix.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a glut of market rate housing, coming online, and we're still gonna fall way short of what they need on the working class side.
Yeah. I think you got the insights there that I think that you'd be a good person to address that issue.
May I ask you another question?
Yes.
Any specific ideas about how would you go about creating a larger percentage of affordable? Because we're wrestling with that in a number of committees. And we seem to be getting to the point where we're gonna probably have a glut of market rate units, and I'm not sure we're gonna fill all those.
Right.
And the problem is we don't have something in the lower to middle area. And we're wrestling with how to find that. Any ideas? Because it's complicated with the state and with the grants. And
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know enough of the detail about the regulatory landscape.
Yeah.
To know just how constrained we are, and if that is the case, then, you know, what kind of steps can we do to start seeking remedies for that? But I feel like there needs to be a focus on doing that evaluation and figuring that out.
I think we've all come to that conclusion right now, that you've got plenty of market rate coming online, maybe too many. And the resources that will take to maintain those are resources that, say, water and sewer and everything else, that it's taking up a lot of the slack that we need for other purposes. And that the other purposes are lower income housing. So I appreciate your thoughts on it.
Thank you for your time again.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
thanks, folks.
See you next year.
Thanks, Joe.
You'll be up for reappointment next year.
I'll still be the grumpy old guy sitting in the back row.
Good.
Well, we would be upset if you weren't there.
Thanks, folks.
See you, Joe.
Deborah? And how do I pronounce your last name?
Dorcas.
Dorcas. This is Deborah Dorcas,
Hi.
and she has expressed
Action council
interest
person.
I know,
Nice
I
to
just, what I was saying, I don't meet many strangers in Katuitt, but
in the planning board, the open space committee, and the community preservation committee. So, Counselor Burdick.
me first, as I
You just
said.
met a new,
I know, well, that's it, I said I
Constituent?
don't meet many strangers in Katuitt, but it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
You live kind of on the outer edge of the village, of my precinct, which when I saw you coming, I know that there's on Old Post Road, the right-hand side is in your precinct, and the left-hand side is in my precinct. But then I thought, is that road in that area? I looked at the precinct map and it is not, but I can say I've never been on it.
Too rich.
But it's,
You're more than welcome, just stop
I was
by.
just saying, you're gonna have to take a ride.
I know I might as well, because I tend to be down further into the village as opposed to out on that end. But anyway, well and truly beside the point. So you've got, I guess I could ask for your 5-minute bio. I've got your CV here, and you're obviously a professional planner. If you could just go through your career a little bit and where you came up from and how long you've been on the Cape and that.
Sure.
Is that me?
I am. I'm a certified planner, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm also certified in the state of New Jersey as a professional planner. And I've been planning in local, municipal, state government for my entire career, which is 25 plus years. And I've done, oh my gosh, master planning, drainage planning, energy planning, infrastructure planning. And I love what it is I can do. And if I could bring that here, I've been here for actually 6 years living full-time, but I have a family member who I needed to, I have a family member with challenges.
Yeah.
So I've been coming back and forth to the Cape for about 15 years. And I've seen a lot of changes. And as a planner, it's my favorite thing to watch. You know, what's changing and making notes of what I see.
Yeah.
And I like to bring that to the committees that I would like to volunteer on.
Right, and now, New Jersey is obviously a very prosperous state. It's a
You
fairly,
know, could I interrupt you a second,
Yeah.
Tony? We're Mount Laurel.
Pardon
So
me?
we're Mount Laurel. The Mount Laurel decision came from us, unfortunately. So we're sort of, you know, the beginning of the affordable housing.
really, that's where you worked?
No.
Oh,
But if you're a planner in New Jersey,
yeah,
you need to be cognizant of Mount Laurel decision in every local master plan that you're doing because it's a requirement by the state.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Put New Jersey on the map yet again.
right.
But, so you started in New York City,
Oh, could I
Lindbergh.
tell you something else?
Yeah.
The police department put in front of their facility a do not block the box. And I have to say, this is really long ago, out of graduate school, which I have a master's in planning. The commissioner of transportation that I worked for actually had just brought over from England the idea of do not block the box. So I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but fast forwarding that, to see that in the police department was exciting. It was great.
Did they put that in when they resurfaced Finney's Lane? Is that a new thing? Or
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You really do keep your eyes open. But so where you were was a fairly, I mean, New Jersey in the northern, you're from northern New Jersey mainly.
Yes.
Where things are fairly built up and where there must be constant challenges when it comes to planning and how you're gonna make things work there.
I actually worked at the Meadowlands Commission. The
I know,
Meadowlands
which-
Commission is 30 square miles of essentially a tremendous amount of wetlands. And there was 14 municipalities that came together in the Meadowlands Commission. So they were a comprehensive quasi-public planning agency. So I was lucky enough to actually participate on the master plan. And one of my areas that I had to do a chapter on was open space. So it was great to be able to learn about how the wetlands function, stepping down for requirements, actually stepping up. You know, usually the state gives the bottom line.
Right.
And then each municipality or local and state, sort of steps up. So we stepped it up to a point that it was realistic,
Yeah.
that we can meet those goals.
I just watched about an enormous mall that they were building over a period of 25 years there. What was the name of that mall?
That's the bad rap that New Jersey gets.
Oh,
It is the mall capital of the world, and we invented the jug handle term.
Yeah, I'll never forgive you for that one.
Thank you, thank you. I went through a lot
It was
of
a really-
property and wetlands.
Interesting story about a many million square foot mall that they were building that had come in, began development, ran out of money, continued development, ran out of, I wish I could remember the name of it now. I don't know. Anyway, it's again, well and truly beside the point. And so your municipal involvement mainly on the employee side, but you
I
were,
volunteered in the
yeah, you
town.
volunteered.
Yeah,
What about the volunteer
I was on
experience?
the environmental commission
Uh-huh,
for, oh my God, 15 years. And we reviewed a lot of the open space requirements. There were new wetland regulations that came into New Jersey, and we reviewed a lot of the regulations that apply to different property owners who are, I will say, not that happy
yeah.
because they became more stringent. And we were an advisory board. We advised the mayor and council, we reviewed plot plans, we reviewed new housing plans, we reviewed affordable housing plans. It was great, very interesting. Yeah.
It sounds like fun. Well, before I hog all the questions, which I may have already done, I will move on.
I'm sorry to ramble, but it's
No,
also
no.
exciting to
Yeah,
see
this is your thing.
changes and be able to participate. And
Of course,
it's a multifaceted
it's not
group of
straightforward.
population on the Cape, and that makes it even more interesting.
Absolutely.
Everybody brings something to the table that's a little different.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Counselor
excellent.
Bloom?
Sure. I was looking at your resume and everything, and I thought open space would be a great committee for you. But I see you also looked at planning board, which there isn't
There's
currently.
nobody ever wants to give up from being on the planning board.
You've been an urban planner, right? But in Barnstable, I have a concern about urbanization.
Could I just interrupt a second? An urban planner is a generic category.
Yeah.
And, I would have couched myself more as a comprehensive planner. And because I've worked, I've been a town planner
Yeah.
for a small municipality in New Jersey. I've been a municipal planner, I've been at 2 quasi-public agencies, and I've been at a city agency. So I wouldn't consider myself an urban planner, but that was my degree.
Sure. You know, my concern is that, you know, planning boards plan, and they keep on planning and planning and planning, and you know, open space, you know, gets used up. When does it all stop?
I think part of it is the plan review, like now's the opportunity with the local plans that are being put together to really designate open space. You know, they look at it and then the Cape Cod Planning Commission looks at it and it's all looked at a little bit globally. And I would think that the town council is very involved in looking at the global future development of the town of Barnstable. So really now is that opportunity to designate spaces. And you have that opportunity too, right? The new Open Space Act doesn't have to be exactly the way it is. You know, you don't have to approve changing open space designations.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity that potentially is there in Barnstable. It's a beautiful place and it should be kept that way.
Yeah, and I think that someone with your background is you know, kind of person who, you know, would be very helpful in making that all come about.
And I've had public hearings with 1,000 people in New York City, and I've had it with 2 people in the Meadowlands. And either way, it's great, because like I say, everybody brings something to the table. And just the challenge to get a question that you don't know about, and you have to go back and figure it out, and come back again with an answer, is great for anybody, regardless of your profession. It's a great education.
Yeah.
And I am currently
Excuse me.
taking a certificate program at Harvard in sustainability. And all my examples, I have to say, all my papers are about the Cape. I have been just using them as examples, from groundwater intrusion to the windmill farms. And I'm fighting against not doing it in my water solution brief, but I'm kind of coming back
That's
to it.
fantastic. So you really delved into a lot of stuff here on the Cape, huh?
I've tried. I'm interested in
Yeah.
that.
How long have you lived here?
6 years full time.
Have you done most of the papers and stuff in the 6 years that you've lived here, or did you do it before?
No, recently, the past year have I written those papers.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Councilor Crowe?
There's the
Deborah?
famous Katuitt clam oysters,
Oh, yeah.
which I love also. If you pass through town and you see those placards, you know, designated areas as historic, they're great if you go back and you look at it. So there's very famous in the bay that
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
the Katuitt oysters, and you make the map and all the restaurants that, you know, brings
In New
people
York?
familiar with the Cape. Yes, well,
Maybe not.
maybe not. But on the Cape, you're famous, and that's maybe the most important thing.
Deborah, you've got quite a background, I have to admit, and to keep away from asking questions about the Meadowlands,
Oh, that's okay. I was there a
did
very
you see
long
Jimmy
time.
Hoffa there at all?
Well, actually, that was the big thing, when you got to do the landfills.
Yeah,
You know, when you worked on the landfills, because we did a lot of
Yeah.
methane. We collected a lot of methane out of the landfills. When a consultant would go out there, we'd always ask, "What'd you find?" And it was a lot of garbage. So if that answers your question, it was a lot of garbage.
yeah, sounds like something the mob would say, just garbage. You were founder of a not-for-profit special needs support group, can you tell me about that?
In the special needs community, or
Yeah.
at least where I live, there's not a large group of girls.
Yeah.
And I thought that it is a very different challenge bringing up a special needs daughter versus a special needs son. And if you take out the special needs aspect, there are just some differences between being a young girl growing into a woman and being a young man growing into a man. So I started this, and another woman joined me as well. And we used to bring in lecturers from, we worked with the high school actually, the superintendent of schools. And we brought in people to talk, and they were from lawyers to psychologists to just other parents, you know, with older children. So you could sort of anticipate, like, what do I have to plan for as my child gets older, because you really don't know, and it's a very, not a straight line.
For somebody who has a special needs older brother, I've been through that for years.
Okay.
From day one. And I have to admit, it's the most difficult time is when they turn into an adult and they age out of a lot of the programs that they have, and where do they go, and how do parents who are getting older provide for them in the future. So
Right.
yeah, so that sounds like what you've been involved in. And about the jug handles, I've gotten off so many highways looking for a bathroom or looking for something, finally give up, and then can't turn around, and then the jug handle thing. Finally learned how to do that.
I work for
I
DOT
was always
in the
wondering
city.
why there were no
in New York,
services,
but
it's like.
I just think,
That's not your fault.
we actually put this transit center hub in the middle, literally, of the Meadowlands, in the middle of a wetland, and people realized, like, how do we get there? And we had to construct a huge roadway because you can't build in all of the wetlands.
Yeah.
So it had to sort of tiptoe around it. And then why would you drive all that way when you could get in your car and save that half hour driving to the transit station? But then I worked on a transit-oriented development right nearby.
Yeah.
And that was actually great because that addresses some of the affordable housing issues. Being able to, when you're near a transit facility, it's less costly to you. You don't have to take your car. You don't have to park. You don't have to sit in traffic. So, and it's walkable, which is a big thing.
Yeah, I've been stuck in traffic over there. Was it?
Right. Well, maybe just to get to the transit center, but there was a jug handle.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, I appreciate you coming. It seems like you have a lot of skills, and you've applied for 3 boards, so I think you've probably got, you're probably good for all 3 of them. So,
Thank you.
but
Thank
so I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate being invited.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
I think what amazes me, and I mean, you'll get to know this, I know that you probably watch some of the other meetings, is just the level of, expertise that we have in our town through our residents, and then when they decide to get involved. So you were 15 years back and forth, 6 years full-time. And why now are you interested in getting involved in a board, committee, or commission?
I think I needed to settle. It's one thing going back and forth, and it's another to settle, be a resident, be part of the community, see what's going on, feel what's going on. You don't want to just jump in, haphazardly. You want to make sure that you have direction, you could bring direction, you talk from a point that you've kind of been on that road, been in that housing area, been in that, Main Street walking. So I think I've really just waited to feel like I'm much more comfortable when you go out on the site visit. Oh, I know where this is. I know what the surrounding area is.
And as far as,
I don't know, I'm still learning. But
yeah, I mean,
I have to say, I get lost.
I grew up here, and thank God for GPS, and sometimes I'm like, which street is that? I have to close my eyes and imagine my car to make sure, and I end up sometimes in the wrong place, but then I get to find something exciting that I
As a
didn't know.
planner, I
Yeah.
do it by sight. I don't use GPS at all, so I mark landmarks to myself, and it's great. I found things that
Till they change the landmarks on.
well, right, yes. I'll be there then in front of the tree, like,
Yeah.
don't take down that tree, please.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about your application at this time is we have the LCPC. We've had a zoning ad hoc, we've had a housing ad hoc committee. We had a change in our philosophy, so I don't know if any of those things maybe spurred you on to join us now. But it seems like you have a lot of experience, and we had an urban planner on our zoning ad hoc. So I feel like we know a little bit about kind of what you guys do. Having worked with him, so it's.
I think it's the school.
And
It
he's
was
like
the
from
school in
Katuitt as
town.
well.
When they, took down that school.
Yeah.
Oh, the
In
one
the
in
town.
Marston's Mills?
Well,
Or the one
we
in
had over
Katuitt.
here in Katuitt.
It's still sitting there.
Yeah, no, I know, but that really sort of spurred you had asbestos issues and you had reuse issues, and all I kept thinking was senior housing. But I didn't go to the meeting,
Welcome
but
to
it
the
spurred
next
me
one.
on to think that, that is a great site for the town to partner or with the community college which should absolutely grow. That offers tremendous opportunity.
Well,
To
I will
young
be
people.
attending, we'll be at the meeting at May 28th. If you wanna join me at the annual district meeting where we'll be fighting about that very topic, so.
Sure.
It belongs to the fire district now instead of the town. So it's the whole thing. There's two, the way that the government in Katuitt or in this town works, two municipal governments that are parallel. So the town kicked it, well, we acquired it from the town, and then we've been trying to figure out in the village what to do with it. So you can come on the 28th. We
Okay.
can all join in. Trying to get people to show up. Anyway, I said to
Yeah.
interrupt.
I won't interrupt people. I'll try to contain my enthusiasm. I apologize.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I just think
I'm sorry.
I just think it's, we're obviously, based on your resume, lucky to have you wanting to insert yourself
Thank you.
in places where you have a passion, and that, I think especially with your background, it's nice, it's a nice fit.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much. Thank
so
you.
thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll be in touch with you, and let you know, our decision.
Okay. And I'll look out for that
Nice to
public
meet you.
notice.
Yeah, you'll see it.
May
It'll be-
28th?
I believe it's May 28th is the district meeting. The elections are the 26th, I think. And if I'm wrong, I apologize.
No. I'll look out for the
But you'll
notice.
see, they'll
Thank
be
you very
posted
much.
around town.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Nice to meet you, thank you.
Nice to
see
meet
you.
you too.
Thanks.
Okay, we're dwindling down. The question is Mary or Stephanie?
Mary.
Mary, come on over. Process of introduction.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a person.
Thank you again.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I think he just called me.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you? Nice to
How
meet
is it
you.
going?
You too.
Okay, there's no adding.
They have me here, that's what I told them.
We voted on it, we're done. Yeah.
So this is Mary Bianco, and she has applied for the Mid-Cape Cultural Council. And Councilor Bloom, would you like to start?
Sure. I guess the obvious question is, what draws you to the cultural council?
Okay, well, I was the youth services librarian at Hyannis Library for 34 years and retired in 2021. Yeah, it was a long time. Which I
Mary.
loved.
Oh, you're Mary.
Miss Mary.
My wife has been,
Oh,
goes to, used to
Okay.
go to you for books and everything.
okay.
'cause she's
Is she a teacher? Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Who is she?
Maria Caputo.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and she picked a lot of books out, for her fifth graders.
Yeah.
I loved the job, but with that job, I put in grants for the Mid-Cape Cultural Council to have performers, puppet shows, musicians. And recently I was with a friend who was on the committee or on the council, and we were chatting about it and different grants that they're giving out and different grants that I applied for, and she said, well, you might wanna come, see what the committee is like to make those choices. And so I've gone to 3 meetings and applied and thought it would be a nice, kind of giving back after receiving grants. I could help to distribute them.
And give back after 34 years of public service, more.
Right,
More, more.
yeah. Well, I've had a little break, retiring and, helping watch my grandchildren. Yeah, so the meetings it seems interesting to review the applications and it's
There you
what would be
go.
good for our community, Barnstable and Yarmouth,
Are you still on your question time?
Oh, yes.
I'm ready to vote her in. This is Mary. She did so.
Say hello.
She helped my wife out so much.
Yeah, yeah, I love that part. Well, I loved all of it, but.
Yeah.
Councilor Burdick?
Me? Okay.
Bless you.
Paralegal,
I know, my background's kind of,
so you started
I know,
out.
I was a little
Interesting,
confused by
yeah.
that.
well, I had different ideas on what I was gonna do in
Oh,
life.
of course.
So library science was my undergrad degree, and then I had thought about going to law school and didn't, so then I thought, well, maybe I could be a paralegal. So I got the certificate and then didn't pursue it. I was working for a state agency at that time, and then ended up getting married and moving up here. So I just thought, I need a job, I'll go to
Yeah.
libraries or paralegal. I was kind of looking at both. I got the library job and stayed there.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of my favorite things is libraries.
Mm.
And I always have such fond memories of
Oh, that's nice. Oh,
librarians.
good.
and children's librarians.
Yeah.
Valerie Morgan from
Oh,
Katuitt,
right.
who you probably know,
Yes.
was there since I remember her
Yeah,
forever.
Yep.
And she was the best.
yeah, she was.
And then we had a couple of different ones, some of them.
Yeah.
No,
Well, the thing
Valerie was
about
good.
librarians, they're all the best.
Oh.
That's what's so great about librarians.
I've met a couple of
I
crappy
might argue that my
librarians,
librarian was the best.
It's true.
And Charlie might argue that Miss Mary is the best.
But
That's nice that you have good.
yeah, I mean, I just, I always, it's one of those things, unfortunately, that, you know, the whole idea of libraries today, and this is me opining, this doesn't necessarily have to do much with what we're talking about, but, you know, the idea of maintaining a library and maintaining an open and welcoming space for people to collect knowledge and also to interact with one another and to have, and as a meeting place, I fear that for lots of little kids that are coming up now, that this is becoming
Yeah.
less and less and less of a thing. And you know, it's just like being a teacher or something. It's not the best paying job in the world, and the people don't give you the most, they may not treat you with any dignity. Like, I work in a store, obviously, so people, you know, they just treat me like I'm some kind of servant or whatever. And that's fine, because that's what it is, but you know what I mean? I have a great respect for all the people who work in libraries and
Nice.
keep handing out books even though people
Right.
believe that they're arcane and there's no place for them in the world anymore. I find that terrible.
You know, libraries are having to adjust to books and.
But a book is a book,
Right.
and a library is a library, and there have been libraries as long as there have been books and people could write, so.
Right, they're still gonna wanna read, it just differently, maybe, and that's,
Well, I hope these still go to
we do have digital, I know. Well, the library, Hyannis is working on a new capital campaign.
I know, a humongous $25 million capital campaign, right?
I know, right. I'm still a little bit connected because I sub there still and go to the staff meetings, and so I'm a little bit aware of what they're doing. And it sounds great, it's just, can they raise the
pull
money
it
to
off.
do it? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Antonia's the librarian there now, right?
Right.
Because she was the librarian to it. I was the trustee of that library
Oh,
for
that's
6
right.
years.
Oh, okay.
Or more, maybe, I don't even know, 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, that, again, beside the point. Well, I
Yeah.
think you'd be well and truly qualified
Oh,
to
thank
be
you.
on the cultural council. That's all those are my questions.
Councilor Crowe?
Yeah, Mary, nice meeting you.
Yes, you too.
Yeah, and 34 years is a long time
Nice.
to be at the library. And what do you see, like the cultural council, what do you see as their major, what are their projects going forward? I don't know the right word, but what do you see is happening there that
Well,
you can help out on?
I think each council decides, people apply, put in an application, and just deciding how to divide that money up. So I guess that can be tricky, because when I came to the first meeting, they had just made those decisions.
You're talking about the council on library, the library funding?
No,
or
the Cape Cultural Council.
Oh, okay.
That's the appointment, the committee that I'm
Yeah.
working to be on. And deciding, do we want, I think they want to have a variety of cultural events. So is it science, is it humanities, art? And maybe try to have an equal amount of that, and how much money should go to each one, and kind of weigh the applicants. So I think I could help with that. I'm not in the arts necessarily myself, well, humanities, being in the libraries, but a lot of the projects I think are performers, but they're also classes. People apply to teach a certain class that they have an expertise in. And I just think it would be interesting to decide how that's distributed. For our community, it's great because all of the projects are either free or low cost. So you're giving money to people who are gonna help the community.
Okay, great. I don't have any other questions.
I mean, it's just interesting to hear this, and we did interview one or two other people for the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, and I'm not really sure, I want to say I understood it, but I think what's interesting from listening to you is that, I applied for the grants and now I'm gonna help actually
I know.
distribute the grants, so it's kind of like
Right,
full
it is.
circle, so you really have a good understanding as far as how the whole process works. I mean, I don't know how complicated the grants are.
They're not that complicated.
Okay, that's good, 'cause
Which
I
was
heard grant
why I
writing.
was able to apply.
Yeah, I was
for
just
some.
like, I heard grant writing is not a lot of fun,
Right.
so I mean, there's people, that's
It's
all they
pretty
do for a
basic.
living is
Yeah,
grant
I know,
writing, but
I know.
I think it's nice that you have that perspective of the front end, and now you have a chance in the back end to kind of be full circle and help our community utilize
Oh,
the
good.
funds, so
Yeah,
I think that's a great opportunity for our town and for you.
Oh, good, thank you. Yeah, I think I'd enjoy being on the committee. The meetings I've been to, the other members are really welcoming
Friendly.
and care about what they're doing.
That's
And
great.
Most of them seem to be performers or artists. And, yeah,
Excellent.
it's a
So
good
you'll be
group.
the more grounding
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah. Coming at it from a different
Yeah.
angle.
Have you applied for this before, Mary?
No, I haven't really.
Okay, because I see the December 26, 2024 on your application.
We haven't had a meeting since last
Oh,
year, that's
Oh,
why.
okay, that's right, okay,
Yeah, it just was a coincidence that I applied in December.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
today,
you
we
very much.
appreciate your
Nice
time.
to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you, and
Tell
I'll
Maria
tell
I said hello.
Maria hi.
Yeah. I miss seeing her. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Why did we not meet for 3 months? Because no one called a meeting? That occurred to me recently.
And now
Excuse me.
Cindy, Stephanie Parrish, coming, not coming?
Rescheduling. And Joan Romano was sick.
Yeah, that I got from the email, I just didn't know about this
And
stuff.
Andrew Fisher, we saw him though.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
Andrew Fisher.
Yep, so we have so do people, I would like to see us vote today on Patrick Downey and the Human Services Committee, because that really is his second
Yeah.
interview for this
Mhm.
position, and now that it's opened up, and he has been attending the meetings.
Sounds great.
Would you like to-
I'll make, so moved. Well, do you want me to say the whole thing, or is that good enough? I'll say I would, I move to recommend for appointment Patrick Downey to the Human Services Committee for a term beginning 6/26,
No, expiring.
expiring. Term that expires, his term expires 6/26? Oh, that's 1 year.
Yeah,
This is 2025.
He's
I got it.
he's backfilling a position that was
I get it.
vacated.
All right, a member term expires at 6/26.
Second.
so do we take, are we, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I guess, sorry, not to interrupt, but
Please
may I
do.
ask a question?
Yeah.
Deborah and the planning board, not that we're gonna vote on it now, I'm just saying, so when will we see the two people who are gonna come up in June?
They both wanna, I think from what I gathered, wanna be reappointed.
They're on your list, that I gave you, the committee list that's on there, if you
This
go to
big
the,
one, the
it's
big
all
giant one with
alphabetical, so if you go to
500
the
people on
planning
it.
board,
Planning,
you'll see the two individuals that are up for reappointment.
Yeah, Mr. Twist and Mr. Sexton.
And hang on 1 second, and I can tell you. That he is not looking to be reappointed.
Who is not
Ray
looking?
Sexton? Or Bob
Mr. Twist.
Oh, so the checks mean they don't wanna be
No,
reappointed?
the checks mean I sent
Oh,
emails
okay,
out
sorry.
to all the individuals
Okay.
asking if they are looking to seek another term for consideration. And I got a flood of emails this morning, and I printed them all off, so if you have any question about anybody that you might be looking at to put on a committee today that might not,
Okay, so who is
Reappointment?
not wanting to be reappointed?
Bob Twist
Okay.
on the planning board, and his email's right here. It says, Cynthia, thanks, I've had a great time on this board, I think I'll pass on a third term.
The terms are 2 years?
3.
All right, he was first appointed 8/20/2020. So how does he get 3 terms out of 20?
That may not be accurate. Remember
Oh.
I told you the access program
Oh,
kinda,
okay,
when they
right,
did the
okay.
verge, and I'm going through it now, but it's taking some time to update the correct information.
All right, fair enough.
And then as far as Sexton, he does want to be reappointed? Or
I have not heard from
back,
him yet.
okay.
Yeah, he has not contacted me yet.
So I think that, as a committee, last time, we said if there was any applications for a new person, and somebody was being reappointed, that we would interview the current people in the seats as well as the new people. I also think, now that we know that one piece of information, we don't have the other piece of information about Mr. Sexton. I also think we need to make notice that
So that the opening is there.
the opening is there.
Yeah,
So
so.
I think we should not be voting
I agree.
on Deborah.
Although Deborah's, has got a great resume, I just
Yeah.
think that what'll happen is, people, when they know, people might come up.
Yeah, people might say, oh, there's a planning board opening at
yeah,
1:00,
yeah.
so,
We also might have 10 applications that are sitting somewhere for planning board, you know what I mean?
yeah, so I think we should hold off on
I
voting her
agree.
into any place for that reason.
We talked about this briefly last time, but I don't know that we came to consensus on it. How long do we keep these postings open before we make a move? Remember, there were a couple where we were like, can we please just, or at least where I was like,
Yeah.
can we please just put somebody into this spot rather
So,
than keep it open
I
forever?
don't know if you were at the meeting when I asked Cindy to email the people that are up for reappointment and to please respond by the middle of April, so we would know.
Good.
Sooner rather than later. So I think now we know, we have one planning board, at least one, we could start advertising it. But I think, we wanna maybe advertise it for a couple months so that we could interview somebody and not have a gap, right? Like, so
So
hopefully we can have the planning board seated
When is
June.
Mr.
And-
Twist, is it end of June?
and they'll.
June 30th, yes. His
Okay, so
term is
we-
up June 30th.
And
we
I
have
mean,
some
obviously,
plenty
we
of time.
still have to do 2 reads and we still, we have
Yeah,
all that,
okay.
but we also, if somebody doesn't wanna be on the board, we don't wanna leave on the board for the next 6 months
Well, yeah.
because we're,
Yeah.
not doing our job either, so,
Like if we post them for a month,
hopefully we get some responses and we start interviewing. And
Yeah.
then it takes us another month to get that done and,
You can also make an announcement at this town council
Yeah.
meeting on Thursday that you were made aware that there's gonna be a vacancy on the planning board.
Yeah.
Because it technically won't hit the webpage until July 1.
She applied for open space and community preservation too.
Yeah.
Um,
I just think let's just say we put her on open space today. We vote yes and we're all in agreement and we put her there. What happens if then we don't get any other candidates for the planning board and then we say, oh, by the way, we wanna put you on another committee? I just think we should.
yeah, because her
It's-
resume
It's
is
time,
more,
and it's a time commitment, like I think we should just hold
I'd like
off.
to see her on one of them.
Yeah,
Hold
I just
off.
think we need to
Yeah.
hold off.
Yeah.
Because you know what, we just need to have that kind of
I
in
agree,
place.
and we don't have to do it till.
Yeah.
The other ones are, the Open Space Committee is 6/27. Okay, so that's an open position?
Yep.
Okay,
And then the Community Preservation Committee position is really a feeder from,
Historical and recreation.
that's not really an opening. So really, she's looking between the planning board and the open space.
okay.
Did she,
Just so you know, I can give you a kind of a running list of what I received so far of who is not seeking reappointments, so that you kind of know.
okay, that'd be great.
We're gonna have an opening on recreation. Alyssa Chase, just had a new infant, so it's time consuming.
I'd say so.
The baby is, not the recreation. Chuck McKenzie on CFAC. Ellen Queenie, Council on Aging. Amanda Converse, Hyannis Main Street Waterfront District Appeals Committee, and that's only a year-to-year term for the appeals. The other main committee is a 3-year. And then Mr. Twist on the planning board.
So these are people that do not want to be.
Do not,
Okay.
yep,
That you've heard from. That you've heard from.
yes, I have actual emails from them. I never remove anybody unless I have it in writing from that person.
And how does the committee feel about Mary Bianco? Or the Mid-Cape Cultural Council?
I thought she was nice.
Yeah.
I thought she'd be
It's
fine.
Mary.
It's Mary.
Miss Mary. Would anybody like to make a motion on Miss Mary?
I will move to appoint Mary Bianco to the Cape Cod Cultural Council. Is it the Mid-Cape Cultural Council?
Yes.
For a term of whatever the term is.
Term expiring 6/26.
6/26.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
It's Mary.
Aye.
Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion for Joe Tanya?
Which one was his first one? Housing?
Well, he's got
Infrastructure
twice
and
for
energy.
Infrastructure and energy.
Did he,
And that's the vacant one? Or that's a full-term vacancy, 6/27, as opposed to
Yes.
6/26?
And the housing committee has an opening too.
Yeah, the housing committee, there's a member vacancy for 6/26. That was a member that just resigned recently, so they're backfilling his term. The infrastructure and energy committee, that's a member vacancy that expires on 6/20/27. Same thing, backfilling somebody that vacated.
Well, as he said at the meeting, or just at the meeting 20 minutes ago when he was here, he said that the Energy Infrastructure Committee seems like they're doing a great job, and a good thing we appointed those other people, and he said that the Housing Committee was struggling. So I'll move to appoint Joseph Tacona to the Housing Committee to fill that vacancy 6/26.
a second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
No, Council Crowe?
I'll go with the rest of it.
And how does the committee feel about Mr. Fisher? And let me just remind you, he'll be applying for the historical commission, because that's where the opening is. Because the community preservation committee is just, he needs to be on the historical commission to be part of the community preservation. So the question before us is, do we want to appoint Andrew or Mr. Fisher to the historical commission?
I'd like to.
I would say yes also.
Would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I move that we appoint Andrew Fisher to the Historic Commission as a member whose term expires on June 2027.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Interview candidates, Stephen Zaros resigned from the Human Services, which is why Patrick Downey was able to
Yes.
be
Okay.
move forward. And we need to look. So Cindy, as far as, besides the two people today that needed for Romano and Parrish, do we have other outstanding, and I should say also for the youth committee, do we have
Yes.
other outstanding applications?
Yes. Let's see. There is Joan Romano, she's the one that's gonna reschedule. We have Michael Travato, who just put in a application for Waterways Committee, Golf Committee, Licensing Authority. Resume, cover letter, let's see. And then we have 1, 2, 3 youth commission members.
That's all there is?
That's to date, yes.
Meaning fiscal year 20, what, meaning calendar year?
Yes, that everybody's put in applications. All the other ones you've either interviewed and placed on there or interviewed and chose not to place on there, and they've all been notified. Last time you guys met was November of last year.
I hate to complicate things. But though.
You complicated it. Wait a
I know,
minute. That's my job.
surprise, shock. But, so, among the people that we didn't choose for given things, based on and not, again, not to complicate things, but as things open up, what is our policy for reaching back out to people who were in contention for or in contest for a seat, then we didn't pick them for something, their applications just go away and they're
No,
interested?
their applications stay on file for 2 years unless there's a reason the appointments committee would never put that person on, and they tell me to.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
But yeah, no, the applications, it says right on the bottom of the applications that they're kept for 2 years.
But what is our process for then bringing them back, refreshing them, bringing them out again?
When an opening comes up,
We always go.
I go back to the file, I pull it up, I email the individual, you submitted an application February 24th of 2022, an opening just opened up. Are you still interested in serving on this committee, or if you are, let me know. And they usually send an email back and say, my life has changed, or yes, I am.
Right.
But that's how we get that's what we did with Patrick.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know why I had never had that explained to me.
Yeah, the applications stay on file for 2 years.
So what I did after the last meeting, I mean, we were gonna do the youth commission, but there were these group of applications that have been
These
sitting
are
there
lingering, yeah.
for a while. And what I did was I went back and I looked at this and I highlighted all the openings.
Yeah,
And then I kind of, in order of importance, asked Cindy
Picked
to
who-
book
which
these
would go,
meetings
yeah.
today. So now what I'm gonna do when I go home is cross-check what have we just kind of said we'll move forward, what other things are opening. Cindy's hopefully gonna tell us by the middle of April who might not want to be reappointed, that creates an opening.
yes.
So that we can start kind of advertising, Cindy will obviously be going back in the file because let's just say it was the airport, commission. And I think we had like 4 people for the airport, so,
Yes, and they
you
were
know what
all
I'm
good
saying?
people.
You don't have to look, Cindy, I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Yeah.
because it's not an opening, but like we would reach back out to those people and also see if there's other new candidates.
Well, that's the thing, because we have interviewed and it's like, we've interviewed so many people, and so many people were good people. Like, if you took say, for instance, the 4 folks that we had done for the airport commission, those were all very well accomplished people with good, real skills and solid resumes and personable and all the things that you would like to have on a board, committee, or commission. I just want to make sure that we don't, granted they wanted to serve on
On
whatever.
a very specific thing.
Yeah, but if we don't want to lose them in the matrix and then have those people be unavailable for service in other areas of the town where we could utilize their skills if they were interested.
Yeah, and we did get one of the guys from the airport, and I think he went on CFAC, didn't he?
Yeah, that was it the former city councilor
And then we had another
from
guy
Boston?
who was on the Council on Aging. He ended up going on the
Mr.
council.
Coyle.
Yeah, on the
Was
Council
he the
on Aging.
pilot? The
Yes.
military aviator?
Yeah, so.
That's what I'm saying. I know that we've been
Yeah,
doing it some, I
yeah.
just wanna make sure that we don't lose, that we stay on top of that as we go into this coming
Yeah.
session of things.
Yeah.
If we're gonna take a very systematic approach to this, which you seem to be more systematic now than we were previously, or when we weren't on this
Yeah.
committee, whatever.
Yeah.
Just keep moving, cause we got so many talented people and so much, bench, as they say, when it comes to, I don't wanna lose people who are
Yeah.
good. That's all.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
long
I
way to say one very simple thing.
I agree.
No.
Well, I agree, and we would re-interview them, I assume,
Yeah.
because
well,
I didn't
Yeah,
interview
you
them
didn't meet him, we can bring back whatever you wanna do.
Yeah.
That's my next question.
Just so we don't lose them.
Madam Chair, is how do you want to do the reappointments? Are you calling everybody in that needs to be
I'm
reappointed?
hoping that by April 15th, we have a solid sense of who wants to be reappointed and who doesn't, like Mr., who did we say? Mr. Twist, planning board, we now know we have an opening.
Yeah.
We can start saying that now, so that we could start interviewing those people in 2 weeks, or let's just say a month from now. So that hopefully we can have the people that want to, new openings that are gonna be coming as a result of people stepping out. And then I think the policy we had last time, that we can, we can hold on, is that if we had new people that wanna apply and we have people in their seats that wanna be reappointed, that we would interview all of those people, so that in case we thought Deborah would be better than Mr. Sexton, we have the opportunity to have that conversation, so it just.
Fine with me.
Yeah, but I think if there's not a opening, if there's nobody who wants to be on those committees, I'm not, I don't know
Yeah,
that I
what's the point
wanna
of bringing 'em in?
re-interview, I can count out how many there are, it's a lot.
Yeah,
I'll do that math tonight, and
there is a lot. I've heard from 22 people so far that are in the yes. So that's 22 that you'll
If it's a
decide on.
contested seat, whatever,
Yeah, and I mean, I
then it's
think we
fine
could
to talk to everybody.
yeah, I think we could still advertise these, there are openings coming up. If you're interested, please apply. But let's just say we advertise that there are openings or that there's seat is coming open and nobody applies. Like
You want me
Council
to
on
do-
Aging.
Do you want me to do the list that I did last year, potential vacancies as of 6/30/2025?
Yeah.
So that gives the general public an idea that potentially there could be 3 vacancies on planning, Board of Health. I did that last year and posted it on the town council webpage.
Sure, that'd be great.
You know what and this is again, me complicating things or just being, like, I've been watching on our YouTube. We have these lovely little informative sessions that go on.
Mhm.
You ever watch those?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like with Mark Elves or with whomever about a topic about, the communications. We should get, or ask Sarah or whomever from communications to make a little one of those about volunteering on the boards, committees, and commissions. And explain that. We should do one of them about that. Not that anybody will watch it, but that'd be cool.
Watch it, and you're gonna be starring.
Yeah.
You're gonna give us the
It'll be me,
spiel.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll put on a tie.
I'll give Sarah your email.
Yeah, tell her, cause
Yeah,
I wouldn't
the
mind though, but that'd be cool.
Counselor Burdick would like to explain the benefits of being
Yeah,
on a board
civic
committee.
involvement, a board
Well, do
committee
you
and
wanna do
commission.
that?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
So you'll
Just
ask
let me
Sarah?
know.
I will ask Sarah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Alright, so I put this giant candy in my mouth when I have to say.
Right before the video starts. do the same
Yeah,
thing.
put a giant, those mints are like that big, anyway.
Okay, so hopefully we can reschedule the 2 people that from today, and then also, Mr. Travato. Michael Travato, who just came in. And, maybe we could line up some of the youth commission.
Yeah, we gotta get them in before they end school.
Yeah, so if you could. When do we want to
Sure.
meet again?
Tell me the time and the
And I
place.
told Ms. Romano that I would reach out to her after today's meeting was set, to let her know when the next one was.
How about tax day, April 15th?
Oh, great, what happens, oh yeah, there was some, whose birthday is that day, that rings a bell with me for some reason.
Not your
The
daughter's not?
historical,
Somebody else.
commission meets at 4, Barnstable Water meets at 7,
Oh.
and Concom is in the hearing room at 3, so they won't be able to. And then we have,
Committee on
Councilor
Committees.
Crow's committee is the next day, and then the town council meeting is on the 17th. The week after that is school vacation week.
Okay, so we don't wanna try to book youth commission on the Friday before school vacation.
Yeah, that's so good.
I don't think they'd like that.
Okay, let's not do that.
We may not get a lot of kids, because they may leave Good Friday.
Okay, how about April 29th?
Sure.
Booking early,
Yeah.
get in my room.
29th, I'm completely free.
3 p.m.
Yes, thank you.
on the 29th.
If we can do that.
Grand, sure.
All right. Sounds like a plan. I will let Sarah know.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts, concerns?
Not today.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, there you go, wasn't that a nice meeting?
It was